You're such an asshole.
Hello, children. We got a long one, so lock in. Hi, Aaron. I'm very sorry about the delay in getting back to you. Really stretch out. In terms of my background about me, he is a youngish male, not too young. I describe myself as highly intelligent. I've achieved quite a lot in my life in the face of much adversity. A few examples including qualifying as a high-level person and a master's of science in a serious STEM field. I'm keeping him anonymous because he does have some very unique qualifications. I don't want to threaten any of his career. As a result of being highly intelligent, I've always been treated as an outsider by people who feel threatened by or envious by my achievements. However, because I'm introverted and very humble, I think that people may see that as a weakness. Being an intelligent free thinker as well as being humble seems to be a recipe for people wanting to instigate smear campaigns about me. I've been subjugated to this several times in the past. I'm also very noticeable in that you work out a lot, and you have a unique, well, not too unique, but you stand out physically, let's say. All these things add to a uniqueness, which the average person appears to be threatened by. In terms of my current work situation, you worked in finance for several years. However, the head of the department that hired me left shortly afterwards. You were shoehorned into a team of women. All of them have very unpleasant attitudes. Those that aren't your manager were very unhelpful when I first joined and made it difficult to get information from them, among other things. They all live near to one another in one particular town, whereas I live in another part of town. One of these women is my manager. Initially, I thought that my manager was incredibly friendly. She would be incredibly supportive, but as times passed, I realized that she was only being like that because the new head of the department, who was her boss, I was answering to, was very hostile towards me. Upon reflection, I think she may have been poisoning his mind about me. I think she was being nice because she probably thought that he would fire me. However, he never did. The expression posing as a friend but working as a spy often springs to mind. The head of the department treated me terribly for a long time. He would publicly humiliate me in the office by shouting at me where I did not have expert level knowledge on a thing germane to your company or your job, which nobody did because it was so new. He had no knowledge in the area of my job, yet would set unrealistic targets born out of ignorance of how long things should take. He would always be very angry during meetings, would never agree with anything I said, and would deliberately take the focus of meetings on a different tangent in an attempt to frustrate proceedings. He would also openly side with people who did not like me. I think he was doing all of this so that I would just quit. I think it was a sadistic and sick way to treat someone because if he wanted to, he could have just fired me, but apparently wanted to destroy any confidence that I had in myself by getting me to resign. However, over time, his position towards me changed dramatically. I believe that when he saw the work I was doing firsthand for himself, he realized that I am actually very gifted and great at my job. I was able to detect many areas that the company was deficient in and remedy those areas. I provide levels of analysis that nobody in my firm could provide. I provide analysis that even our senior heads seek out and rely on. Recently, I stuck my hand up as having expertise in an area that the company has a lack of expertise in. I spearheaded the entire project, took things to an excellent conclusion. I was thanked profusely for the great job by the head of the department, a different department. At the time I initially stuck up my hand, my line manager was very negative about me taking the task. She did not want me to spend any reasonable amount of time on it. Therefore, I worked on my own time to get it done. I think she did this for two reasons. Firstly, she did not have any knowledge in the area and was so afraid to reveal her inability to exercise control over what I was doing. Seems to be a common pattern with her. Secondly, she does not want me to shine and get a good reputation. Anytime I am praised by the head of our department, she becomes very passive-aggressive towards me. For example, after one bit of great work I was praised for, she asked me to provide detailed accounts of how much time I spent on specific tasks down to the minute. However, when I inquired with another manager, I was told that this was not done by other managers. Don't worry, guys, you're going to see where I'm going with this. Prior to the COVID lockdown, we were working in the office. I sat next to a guy who did not like me. He's one of these loudmouth types, whereas I'm very much reserved. In my experience, these types do not like intelligent, cerebral people, as they tend to feel insecure around them. He began a smear campaign where he tried to get others to think that was weird or odd or strange. However, the people we sat next to who were in a different team saw right through him and saw what he was trying to do. He would play other power games, such as dumping his stuff on my table. I continuously have to remove his stuff over to his own table, which was adjacent to mine. All this was done so that I would grow angry at a point in public, which he would play innocent or use the situation to garner public support. I never took the bait. I told my line manager who at this point in time was in still her good cop phase about the smear campaign of this guy. Ever since then, she began to use those same words in high frequency. She never did before. It seemed like by telling her this information, she saw it as weakness and began to use those words herself in high frequency. I believe this was a passive-aggressive way to try and damage my confidence and make me feel like an outsider. However, I have a strong sense of self that I just saw exactly what she was up to. The one thing which has irritated me is that she never thanks me for anything, especially when I have excelled. During previous appraisals, she would never give me constructive feedback or would either ignore a task that I did or not mention it at all, or she would just give a factual description of the task that I did, which isn't the way to give an appraisal. It was when I saw this tactic that I was certain that she was being passive-aggressive and was threatened by my work ethic and skills. I was recently asked to take on a new task, which was not part of my job description. The task helps her with her minions out because the task sits with them. They did not train me properly. When I submitted a piece of work, I was told I was wrong and I was given feedback. However, none of the feedback information was captured in the documentation, nor was it orally explained to me beforehand. However, when I raised this with my manager, she lied and said that she did tell me. I believe that this was another tactic used to exercise power over me by trying to set me up to fail. Also, they had included all the information in the documentation. I would have followed it, and there would be no need to tell me off for not doing things properly. I believe is another part of power move on her part. I recently messaged her about her use of the words weird, strange, and odd, which I feel is her being passive-aggressive. She denied this, but told our head of the department. Had a recent performance review where nothing was mentioned about my actual job. That was just completely ignored as if I had done nothing with a task that provides coverage for her team. When she isn't really even my job, she's focused solely on the coverage task to criticize me. However, I've only just completed her inadequate training. Therefore, I feel it is very unfair. I think she set me up with inadequate training in order to give me bad feedback. The head of my department was also present at the meeting. He just kept quiet and did not mention any of the good work I was doing in the other areas. He did mention that my line manager spoke to him about accusations I made. He then said that she is a highly regarded person and insinuated that he did not believe me, blah, 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 blah. They then had the cheek to ask me to fix the documentation that has deficiencies, even though they were terribly negative about my performance on that task. It appears illogical. They accuse me of not performing on this task, but then want me to rectify the documentation I relied on in my training. If I'm to blame, then there should not be anything to remedy in the training documentation. However, if they acknowledge that the training documentation is deficient, then I should not have received negative feedback. The pushback refused to be bullied into that. I wrote out this bad treatment for the past couple of years because I'm a firefighter. I did not want to run at the first sign of pressure. In addition, I did not want to change jobs whilst the pandemic was at its peak. It was unclear in which direction of the market I was moving in. However, the recent performance review, there was nothing that was even mentioned about the 97% of the tasks I do, only further demonstrated the gaslighting that is going on. I recently started a job search, and I have been offered another role with nearly $10,000 more pay raise. Well, I'm still wary given the state of the economy. I'm making a change. I think that making this change would be for the better. Would you agree? Oh, yeah, do it. Do it. We'll get to other things later. The main question I have is whether I should send a letter to the board of directors of the entire bank to let them know about my treatment. On the other hand, I believe that the bullies need to have their machinations exposed. By sending this letter to the board will be a type of payback for the disgusting treatment I've received. I truly believe that people sound like this should not be allowed to get away with how they treat others. On the other hand, I'm actually aware that doing so could open up Pandora's box and I could be exposing myself down into consequences. For example, my line manager, the head of the department, may retaliate in some unforeseen way. Also, there may be seen that, okay, if you don't like where you're working and your coworkers and your bosses are treating you this poorly, leave. I'm going to tell you this. I don't think I've ever told you. You're mentally ill, and I can't help you. Did you hear what you just wrote? You sound like the chicks you're complaining about. Now, I don't know if that's on purpose or you do it because it makes you holy freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? Paranoia Batman. Talk to a therapist now. What the fuck is this shit? They're hitting me in the back. Oh, there's out. You know what? You could actually be at a horrifically backstabby telenova soap opera where it's like, what was the show with Kevin Spacey? American Politics, whatever, some backstabby show. Listen to your fucking self. Everyone around the corner is out to get you. And even if it was true, leave. Well, I think I don't. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. If this is how you write reports at work, no wonder no one wants to work with you. So before you go anywhere else, go talk to histherapist.com. Go find a therapist. Show him this. Because I can't help you in this regard. But holy fucking shit, dude. Knock it the fuck off with that. Passive aggressive. It's like you do sound like a 13-year-old girl in middle school. You understand that? You do know that? And all your education, okay, that's fine. And you know what? There's even an outside chance that maybe the work environment is so toxic that it drove you to this. But I've never seen seriously, coming up 7.5 years, asshole consultant, never seen this much petty bitching and whining in my life. Never seen someone trying so hard to find out why someone's trying to fuck them over. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. But by golly, here comes big-titted Molly. You print off the email you sent me. You go talk to a therapist, give it to him or her, and say, hey, do I got an issue? Because you might as well go to the next job. Because you've poisoned the well here at this job as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you could stay at this job if you want. But if you got more money at the other job from purely a financial perspective, yeah, go take the higher paying job. Why not? The money's there. But oh my God, you got to get this fucking shit fixed because you ain't going fucking nowhere. And given your age, no. This is 13-year-old girl bullshit. Not your age. There, that's it. All that to find out if you had to go and take another job. All that. You had to send me 3 pages, single-space text, all that to find out if you should take another job for 10 grand more? Fuck, I've not even been married. In fact, now I know what it's like. Khalid Hotzclaw, the most interesting name in the world, for $5. Is it dangerous to brag about how much money you have to your high school peers? Is bragging about your money dangerous? Yes. You never tell anyone you have money. I was listening to Turd Flinging Monkey the other day, and he was talking about, I didn't know this about him. He has an arcade game collection, and he doesn't show it to people because people are like, oh, that's a lot of neat shit. That's kind of cool. And the reason you don't do that is because I think it happened in his past before where someone he knew, like, oh, look at all this cool stuff this guy has. And then, even at a party, and then people come in and steal it. Of course, that's typically younger males. But yeah, gosh, you remember how many people tried to steal PlayStation 2s and all that? But yeah, it's kind of the same principle, but like if you look at how much money I got. You fake having the money. It's the worst situation is you fake having the money. You don't have the money. And for whatever reason, somebody sues you or a girl decides to oops, I'm pregnant. Oops. And you're like, I don't actually have the money. I'm a $30,000 from Addison, Texas. Look it up. It's in Dallas. And there's like no money. And then it comes like, I only make $30,000 a year and I can't afford child support payment. And then you're in jail. But no, especially given the leftist general parasitic, envious, jealous, thieving, parasitic mentality that most people are being increasingly brought up in with especially in the United States. You don't let people know you have money. Absolutely not. and your old high school peers, fuck them. They're done. That's over. Don't worry about high school. David Suarez for $5. I'm joining the trades to be a line. Oh, okay, the lineman. But I always got told that I'm going to get old one day. I need something better. How would you respond? Tell them to shut their fat, pasty, obese asses up. What are you supposed to do? See, they're always like, everyone comes up with an excuse, Dave. Everyone comes up with an excuse. Occasionally I'll get an email. I'm 38. I'd like to get a computer science, but they say it's a young man's game. Well, then don't fucking do it. Then sit on your ass. Then fucking be in the same position. Absolutely, you should do it. Absolutely. And boy, you want to tell you look young. I mean, you look like you're in okay shape. But I'll tell you this, because I went hiking the other day. It's in between. I did a hike between Deadwood, South Dakota, and Lead, South Dakota, both of which were mining towns back in the day. Lead in particular, huge mining operation. And you saw all the power lines going up hills and cliffs and all that. Now that's going to be some strenuous work, especially if you're out west and you're trying to like forge a river or go up a mountain cliff, and even in Moab. And I'm always like looking like, holy crap. But you know what's going to be great about that, Dave, is the day's going to come that you will be too old to do that job. But you'll be able to drive your kids around, assuming you have kids, and say, you see that telephone pole way up there? I did that. I climbed up that fucking mountain. I put in that fucking pole, and I pulled, not with your hands. I'm sure they give you a wrench and equipment and whatnot. But I did that. And then you'll have like this trophy. You'll have this work. Like, okay, you built houses. So the houses are that. But that telephone pole going straight up that cliff, son, your old man did that. Yep, it had to get gear, and it was in snow, too. You make good money, then maybe get into management or something like that. And that they're right there. You do need to have like a transition in case, one, you get injured, or two, your body just poops out on you. I mean, talk to guys who do HVAC or carpet. They're always on their knees. You know, got bad knees. So there's things like, get good equipment, good shoes, good working boots, good working equipment. But you'll have to inevitably do plan to make some kind of jump. And I always thought accounting would be a good kind of thing. Like you take some accounting classes online, accredited, slowly earning your way to a degree in accounting, even in associates. And then all of a sudden the foreman or the boss, oh, he's sick. I know my numbers. I know how to do books. Oh, let's get Dave to do the books. All of a sudden you kind of slowly grooming your way into accounting. Then you get to sit in the trailer with the air conditioning box. Then you're a white collar guy. Then they're going to hate you. But yeah, then you do construction accounting or trades accounting, whatever. Maybe, and then down, you become Chad Elkins, you get your CPA, and there you are, 50 years old. You have vehicles and house paid off. You're not the young man you once were, but you know the business like the back of your hand. You could do the boom management material. Now you're sitting pretty. Although that's like a 20-year plan, 25-year. Khalid again for $5. Thanks, Cap. I told my friend about your show. He inherited money and wants to brag to everyone. I don't know if he might get robbed though. Well, okay, if your money's in the bank or investments, you don't really get robbed. But especially if he's a younger guy, girls will take advantage of him. Friends will take advantage of him. The money isn't necessarily going to get stolen, but he's going to buy bottle service because he wants to brag. He's going to piss away his money on a fancy car. He's going to wreck the car. The insurance won't cover it. Just tell him to take the fucking money and throw it in the S&P 500 in a diversified portfolio, a little bit of bonds, a little bit of stocks, pay off his debts, and earn the what's it called, the position of fuck you speech from John Goodman. Have him watch that. There you go. Boom. He's done. And he doesn't buy a big fancy house. No big fancy house. I know the temptation is to go in. Here's the other problem he gets to face, Khalid. He didn't earn it if he inherited it. And most people in high school, they're going to do, well, fuck, you inherited it. You didn't earn it. Fuck you. Anyone will find it, even if he worked it. If people don't like it, like, he benefited because whatever. He's a white male. He's got white privilege. I don't know if he's a white male. But my point is that people who don't like you or don't want to admit you won one will always find a reason to excuse your success. They always will. So there's no reason. Let them suffer. That's about the best bit of life advice I can give for everyone out there. You let other people suffer. By that, I mean, you don't have to lift a finger. Most people are so fucking stupid and so fucking lazy, they will suffer under their own hand. And you trying to get them, they're going to dismiss it, ignore you, cognitive dissonance, and off they go. Is that it? All right, that's it. Questions, answers, ASOconsulting.com. See you guys later. Toodles.